The real question isn't what are those? The real question is, what are those, Bobby? Hey everybody, welcome back to Drinks and a Movie. Chris Hamker back with you, and thank you so much for joining me again. I know it's been a while since I posted a video, but I had to travel a lot during January for my work, and I had a recent death in the family, and so I'm not going to go into it, but I'm back, baby, and we're back on a big one, Black Panther. But let's start with the drink. This drink is the Vibranium Cocktail. The Vibranium Cocktail is a little complicated. There's a lot here on the table, but it's not too bad. We'll start off with 2 parts Hypnotiq and 1 part of triple sec, 1 part of white rum, because we had to do a little colonization there. Wink. And then a little bit of splash of liqueur called Viniq to give it a little kind of, you know, this little cool smoky, goofy little feel to it, and then equal parts strawberry seltzer and mango seltzer into a mixer with ice. Stir it up. We're not shaking this one because it's seltzer. Stir it up and then strain into a just a, you know, Collins glass with ice. So here we go. Let's make this drink and talk about Black Panther. Black Panther. Black Panther is directed and written by Ryan Coogler and stars Chadwick Boseman as the title character, T'Challa, Black Panther. And they start off where Civil War ends, with T'Challa returning to Wakanda to reclaim his, or claim his birthright after the death of his father. And little does little Black Panther T'Challa know that it's not so easy running a country, running a technologically advanced, hidden African country all on his own. It's kind of hard. It's kind of difficult. And then we'll do the 1 part white rum. And a splash of Viniq, because I'm fancy. And then try to do just equal parts of the, of the seltzer. That was better. Oh, nope. And we're live, folks. Not really, but I'm not doing this again. All right, so we get your seltzer just to give it a little bit of a fizz here. I'm gonna do equal parts of this mango and strawberry seltzer. Mix it up with your spoon, because this one is stirred, not shaken. Strain her out. And there you go. This nice kind of blue, kind of fun little drink here. Here is to the Vibranium Cocktail and Black Panther. Cheers, everybody. All right, so this is the 18th movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And now let's just sit back and bask in the feat of cinema that this really is. This has never been done before. I mean, one could argue the monster universe from the 1920s all the way to the 60s, but those movies were loosely connected, if connected at all. This is a connected universe of 18 films spanning 10 years, and what's so astounding about this is that these movies go from great to mostly good, with a few outliers that are just okay, and that is truly marvelous. I thank you. But seriously, the reason I'm thinking about this, and the reason this comes to mind and why I mention it, is because at this point, from 18 in, 10 years down, at this point, the quality usually starts to wane. And this couldn't be farther from the truth, because Black Panther is great. It is a really, truly great movie. And I'm so pleased to say this after so many of these Marvel Cinematic Universe movies. This is actually a really nice, refreshing drink. You should really try it. Black Panther's great, and at this point, they really shouldn't be, and I am very pleased to say that. Now, the best part of this movie is its characters and the cast that inhabits them. I mean, this movie is an embarrassment of riches of talent. There are so many wonderful supporting characters in this. You start to lose count, and they well outshadow the main character of T'Challa, or Black Panther, and I don't think it's Chadwick Boseman's fault that this happens, and I consider this both a plus and a minus of this film, that they all kind of overshadow him. But I kind of like the fact that T'Challa is kind of a straight man to all these wonderful, colorful characters that show up one after another after another. And there are three standouts to me in this movie that really just steal the movie for me. First is Shuri, T'Challa's sister, played by Letitia Wright, and she is beautiful and intelligent and funny. I mean, hysterical throughout the entire movie, and their interaction, it really feels like a real brother-sister relationship, and it just shines throughout the entire movie. The next one, I think, that stole every scene she was in was Danai Gurira's Okoye, who is T'Challa's general and also head of his personal guard, the Dora Milaje, who are all badasses among themselves as well. She is she's strong and imposing, and just such a wonderful character, and funny at times too. She gives such funny little lines and quips, but just is an incredible badass among herself. And just as a little side story, I saw this movie with a friend of mine, and afterward we were talking about it, and we were mentioning her character, and he couldn't remember the character's name, so he was just calling her Michonne from The Walking Dead. And I was like, look, you know, just because you couldn't remember her name doesn't mean you just have to pick out of the hat just the next strong, badass black character that you could think of. Because I didn't realize that the character is played by the same actor, and you could look at it a couple of ways, that I was just being, you know, the stereotypical racist that couldn't tell the difference between the black actors. No, I think it's more that I'm an idiot, and that I just didn't realize it. But I think what's even more evident here is that the actor of Danai Gurira is so good at being two similar yet very different characters that I didn't recognize her. I didn't recognize her as the same actor, and she could have played it the same way she did Michonne, but she didn't, and she played it totally different and just as good, and just astounded me the entire time. Now the next one is Winston Duke's M'Baku, who is kind of Black Panther's friendly rival of Wakanda. He does challenge him for the throne, but they're not necessarily enemies. He's just, you know, it's tradition for challenges to come up, and he's one of those that just, man, he's so funny and so engaging and so fun to watch. I just can't wait for him to show up in further films. Andy Serkis is back as Claw, and he is chewing up the scenery. He's hamming it up and looks like he's having a great time, and he's great as always. I mean, just so many good actors. Look, this doesn't even mention Lupita Nyong'o, Angela Bassett, Martin Freeman. It just blows my mind. This movie also deals with some really heartbreaking and incredible themes in this. I mean, it deals with white colonization of Africa. It deals with the black experience throughout the history of the world. It deals with sons coming to grips with the sins of their fathers. It deals with globalization, refugees, and it does all these things without it feeling like they were trying to cram too much information into one movie. And the credit I give to this is Ryan Coogler, the director and writer. I mean, he is 3 for 3 for me at this point with with Fruitvale Station, Creed, and now this. And he also has some nice little Coogler-esque flares where there's this really nice one-shot action scene in Black Panther that's very similar, though not done quite as good as the first boxing match in Creed, but it's still incredible and a lot of fun. And lastly, I think this movie has a really great villain. I really do. In the Eric Killmonger character. And I think he's really great by way of his really understanding his motivations. And that's not easy to do. He is truly a sympathetic bad guy, and I think one of the reasons is he played really well by Michael B. Jordan, a Ryan Coogler mainstay. And he's played with flair and strength, and he's also menacing, but most of all, you kind of agree with him. You kind of agree with where he's coming from, where he's going. The problem is, and this is one of my negatives of the film, is that they don't really show you, why he's doing these things. He expresses them very well, but they never really show you. They kind of do a show, or tell not show, which is a cardinal sin of filmmaking for why he is the way he is. There's multiple times during the movie where he says, "This world has taken everything from me," and you never really get to see it. All you really get to see is the character playing basketball a couple of times, but you know certain things. You know that he grew up in Oakland, California, but the problem is you never really see how bad his life is there. You just have the general knowledge of how terrible it is for African Americans to grow up in Oakland, California. But if I didn't have that outside knowledge, I really wouldn't get why he's so angry at the world. And they never really show you in the movie. I mean, you understand it because you understand that area of the country is just is so oppressive to the African American community, and you get that, but you just never see it in the movie. And I think that's a real weakness in the filmmaking there. So the last negative I'm gonna tell you about is the special effects from time to time were not good. I mean, not good in almost a cringy kind of way, and I hate using that word, but it especially with the CGI, there are the moments when there's full suited Black Panther characters on screen, and they just looked rubbery, they looked bad, they looked like their bodies didn't move how regular bodies moved. I mean, these things looked just as good, quote unquote good, as Spider-Man 2 did, and I think Spider-Man 2 may have done it a little bit better, but that was 15 years ago. Your CGI should not be able to be compared to a movie that was 15 years ago, especially since you got movies in the MCU like Guardians 2 and Thor Ragnarok last year that were visually impeccable, and you just can't do that after having those that were a year ago coming out now and having these kind of rubbery looking characters. Also, there were some real bad green screen moments that really should have been cleaned up in this, and they just weren't, and that detracted from it a little bit. It kind of took me out of the movie. All in all, I thought this was such a great movie. I really enjoyed it. I've seen it twice now, and it's definitely one of the better MCU movies. It's like in my top maybe 5, 6, or 7. I mean, it was great, and I'm really happy to be able to say that, because the last 3 were just okay and kind of middling and didn't really impress me. This one did, and MCU's back on track after 18, and that's astounding. Anyway, thank you so much, everybody, for joining me, coming back. I am back, and I'm gonna try to make some regular videos here. I'm gonna do a Oscar catch-up coming up. Ketchup, Oscar mustard. Cheers. Oscar roundup coming up this weekend for the Oscars. Anyway, thank you so much, everybody, for joining me. If you like this, please like, share, subscribe down here at the bottom. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think of Black Panther. Let me know what your top 5 MCU movies are. And I will talk to you guys later. Thanks. Have a drink on me. Bye-bye, everybody.